What is up, YouTube? It is Coach Kolton here to bring you physique development tools, skills, and opinions that hopefully you can apply to yourself to make some gains. In this video, I'll be continuing on with the Dieting Basics 101. This is the second video in the series. If you haven't seen the first, please go back and watch it as it's crucial for this video right here. In this video, I'll be discussing how to structure a meal in a healthy manner, what you should be looking for, and how to portion out meal sizes currently. Where do we start? Well, making meals is actually rather simple once you get the basic ideas down. The premise is not very difficult to grasp. Once you've kind of consistently picked your healthy foods, you've been able to go to the grocery store, you've enabled these positive habits in your lifestyle, you're creating this self-efficacious sort of dieting patterns, it is now time to implement structure within your meal plan. Most meals should include a basis of protein, and that's really crucial here, at least most meals. Once again, we're not jumping in full-fledged. Most meals should include a base of protein. If that's 3 meals out of your 4, if that's 1 meal out of your 3, so be it. But what we're aiming for is perfection later on in this development. It takes time to get to a point where you're comfortable doing this with every meal, but starting out at this point, we want to educate you that it is essential. Most meals should include a basis of protein. What is a basis of protein? Basically a fistful of meat is generally a portion of protein that you'll want. That or about 6 to 12 ounces of dairy, but who's doing that? Really, that sounds gross. And then you have the option of like whey proteins and stuff. But like I mentioned in the last video, those are not preferential to whole proteins. So a fistful of protein is kind of what we're looking for as a basis of a core of protein in a meal. And then on top of that, we'd like to add a serving of veggies as a second core to this meal. And a serving of veggies is honestly anywhere from 1 to 4, even 5 fistfuls of veggies. Veggies are very low in calories, so you can add a lot of those suckers and create a very nutritious and whole meal. It's literally whole. It'll fill you up quite a lot. I mean, eating 5 fistfuls of veggies is no joke, but that'll probably be less than 100 calories in all reality. You'll want to make these veggies steamed raw or baked. You really don't want to use oils. You don't want to soak them in fat. That just completely changes the premise of being healthy and eating them. Once you soak things in fat or you start using fat to cook, you're just adding a preposterous amount of calories unnecessarily, and you don't even really taste the fat at the end of the day. It's just there to be in convenience sake. Don't use fat to cook these oils because that can really start to twist how a diet is healthy. And as I mentioned in the last PowerPoint, it is about caloric intake really that's going to be dramatic to your outcome as far as health is concerned. When you start adding fats, that's drastically changing the caloric value of your meals. Now, once we have set our basis of protein and veggies, we can now add things like whole grains and fruits, the carbohydrates to our meals. Now, what does this look like? Well, whole grains of any kind. You have oats, you have rice, you have quinoa, couscous, wild rice, potatoes. There's so many pastas. There's a huge variety of carbohydrates you can use. And really, it's just up to you which ones you prefer. Just try to aim for the single ingredient foods. Now I'm saying like pasta, how is that a single ingredient foods? Well, they make rice pasta that's made just from rice. There's a lot of options out there. Rice noodles. There's so many different carbohydrates. You have butternut squash. There's several different squashes, several different types of potatoes. You could endlessly go on about different carbohydrates that are out there for you. It's just a matter of going to the stores and, like I said, sticking around the perimeter is where you're going to find most of those good single ingredient carbohydrates that are nutritious and beneficial to your health. You want to avoid high calorie snacks and breads when you're talking about these carbohydrates. The last thing you want to do is, instead of having like a bowl of oatmeal, have a bagel that's 300 calories filled with seed oils and a bunch of fats that aren't beneficial to you. And then as well, fruits are going to be great, but don't blend them, don't decompose them in a sense. You don't want to make them super palatable because as soon as you start, you eat a cup of berries and it's going to be pretty filling, but you blend a cup of berries and it's going to be like 2 ounces of fluid, and that cup is going to be like a shot, and you drink that and it's going to be the same amount of calories as what would have filled your stomach. So try to avoid blending foods, especially fruits, as that won't lead to a more filling or satiating meal. And then healthy fats, you definitely want to stick with like the olive oils, the grapeseed oils, the macadamia nuts, the walnuts, the chia seeds, the really beneficial olive oils, avocados, different sort of polyunsaturated, monounsaturated fats. I could go on talking about them forever, but you really want to aim for these when you're picking your fat sources out. You really don't want to cook with these oils, but the oils you do cook with, maybe it's canola oil or coconut oil, you want to count when you do cook with them. You do not want to cook with these oils because it oxidizes the oils. The polyphenols, which are within that oil, which is what kind of benefits your health, is anti-inflammatory and so on, is going to be eradicated or oxidized when you cook with them, making that oil actually toxic to your body. Literally, that's what's happening. The oxidation process is when it actually accepts onto the lipid backbones toxins. So you want to add this by, add carbohydrates, add fats by the sense of energy and hunger. Are you very energy filled throughout the day? Do you have plenty of energy to move around with your kids, walk around the park, get over 10,000 steps a day? Do you have energy to sustain yourself at work? Are you happy? Are you hungry? What kind of senses do you have there? Energy is a great source to go off of. You often hear people coming in as clients talking about they want better energy, and most of that is they're truly just not eating enough, and especially not enough of the right things. So eating more of the right things will lead to energy, as these are these substrates to energy that are going to add rather than take away from your energy. And then also convenience, right? So like, what is going to be convenient for you in the immediate vicinity? Is a potato going to be really hard to bake without any sort of utensils, or is a cup of rice easier and it's already done and made? That's a decision you make. And preference as well is really important. What do you enjoy? Do you enjoy more carbohydrates, like more rice, or do you like more fats in your meal? That's going to really decide what these meals are composed of. There's not really a guideline to the serving size of these portions. Just do it as you feel needed. Once you have the basis, the structure of protein in each meal, and the structure of veggies in each meal, you can add these things on once those things have been accounted for. And I get asked a lot of questions about snacking. Is snacking okay? Generally, yes, it is okay. It is not preferential, however, okay? So if you do snack, it really should be made as a protein base. That way we're at least getting more protein. Protein is going to be more satiating. Those amino acids are going to create serotonin and dopamine in the brain, which are going to lead to more positive feelings of association of well-being. We want more protein as opposed to anything else. So if you're going to snack, make it something like beef jerky, make it something like a tuna packet that's flavored, make it something that's nutritious and going to get you to a goal as opposed to take away from a goal. Something like sugary and that'll make you crash, like a diet soda. Keep it based off the healthy stuffs, right? No pops, no snacks, no candy bars, just the healthy stuffs, and only have them if they fit into your busy schedule. If you are just having them to have them, that's the wrong mindset to have. That's going to lead to bad eating habits. It's going to lead to eating disorders, quite frankly. So you want to make sure when you're having these snacks, it's because you don't have enough time to eat a meal at the moment, which is very rare. So these snacks shouldn't be often. But if it does come up, you have a snack ready, you're able to eat it, and you just don't have time to make a meal, eat the snack. By snacking, just be aware that you are encouraging negative feedbacks with hunger and cravings, okay? So you're making it much harder to sustain a lifestyle where you are creating this sort of bubble for yourself where you can continue to eat healthy without the distraction of snacks and stuff. Once you start eating snacks, like I said, food is dopaminergic. It creates a dopamine response in the body. And so what else does that? Drugs, right? Drugs are called dope because they interact with dopamine in the brain. Increased dopamine, that response is going to become addictive. Same thing with snacking. The more dopamine hits you get throughout the day, the more your body's going to want those dopamine hits at that specific time. And circadian rhythm dictates if you eat, consistently at certain times, your body's going to get very, very used to those meal timings, and it'll shut hunger off when it's not those times, and it'll shut it on when it is those times. So if you dysregulate that clock, your hunger is going to be all over the place. So we want to mitigate snacking as much as possible and try to just eat your whole meals throughout the day. Do you need to eat veggies with every meal? Obviously, I mentioned that there needs to be a basis of veggies, but you absolutely do not need to eat a basis of veggies. It does not need to be there. If you're eating something like oatmeal and yogurt, veggies don't really have a place in that meal. So obviously there's exceptions to this idea, but realize that veggies are a great filler. They're extremely low in calories. They will fill you up immediately, and they're extremely healthy. They provide you a ton of nutrients and a ton of benefits. as opposed to other things. So if you're having a meal without veggies, just realize if you had it with veggies, you'd likely be fuller, more satiated, and probably healthier too. Also, veggies create variety. The biggest complaint I get as a coach is the individuals who want variety in their diet. There's hundreds of different veggies that you can go to the grocery store and find just on the shelf. Veggies are vast and many. Use them, use them, use them. Create variety in your meals with veggies because there's so many different kinds that can be used in so many different ways. Use that to your advantage and leverage the variety. Vary colors often when you do eat veggies. This is really important. So the colors in veggies really represent the nutrients within that veggies. That's why there's like carotenoids and flavonoids and all these different things. The colors represent nutrients. So the more colors you have within a veggie or a variety in your day, the more nutrients you're going to have in your day. So what I do is I personally go to Costco. They have this awesome stir fry mix. And this stir fry mix has a variety of different vegetables, from onions, green beans, orange things, blue things, all sorts of different stuff. There's more than like 6 veggies in there. That's what I use most of the time just because it creates the variety and I don't have to think about it very much. But you can do whatever you want to do. Just use veggies as a source of variety. That's really it. It's not that difficult. Have a base of protein. Start with protein and veggies. Then add some carbohydrates and fats as you see fit. But avoid snacking as much as possible and really do try to encourage as much vegetable consumption as it will fill you up and lead to a lower caloric intake overall. Like I mentioned in the last video, calories are what has been shown to implement better health outcomes as opposed to any other sort of dieting methods. So that is it. It's super simple. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be more complex. It's really that easy. In the next video, we'll be counting macros. I'll be showing you what that's like, how much of what, and then, what I really want to accentuate is there's no need to rush. You don't need to go from video 1 to video 2 to video 3 within 3 days. Take your time. If you're not comfortable making your own healthy meals, at least 3 meals a day, then stay at video 1 and rewatch it. If you're now there and you're able to do this and make correct portion sizes for yourself in each meals a day, and you're getting a fistful of protein in at least 3 meals a day and all those good things, then move on to the next video. But do not feel rushed to go and count macros. It is a process that takes time, and that is something you need to be aware of. I will see you in the next video.